I am going to begin by asking you to tell me what your name is and what your title is that you'd like us to use when we talk about you on the radio.
Okay, my name is Barry Thornton, and I am the local spokesperson for Refuse Fascism in the Bay Area.
Talk about what is planned for tomorrow and why it is significant.
So what we're doing is we're bringing body bags to the San Francisco Federal Building. And this is this is happening nationwide. Um, and We're doing it because this Trump-Pence regime is killing people. That they were already fascist, in our view, before the COVID-19 epidemic struck, and they have gotten much worse and are they're killing people, and we are dramatically protesting that. We're observing social distancing. We uphold social distancing, and we will be masked. We will have gloves. We will not be close together, but we are going to deliver this message because we think it's extremely important that this be resisted under difficult conditions. So.
And talk about how you feel that the Trump-Pence regime is killing people.
Well, I mean, you can talk about the prisons that Trump has refused and has opposed efforts that some governors have done to release at least some of the prisoners. It's impossible to observe social distancing in the prisons. It's impossible to observe social distancing in the detention camps for immigrants and for refugees. People who've committed no crime are held under conditions where this disease can spread like wildfire. And I mean, we could talk about the disaster that the way testing has been handled, and continues to be handled, which jeopardizes health workers as well as the unavailability of medical equipment for the health workers who are putting their lives on the line. All of that adds up to this didn't have to be this way. It is this way, and it has everything to do with this anti-science fascist agenda that this regime is all about. So people are already dying in the prisons and are already dying in the refugee camps. And we don't know how far this is going to go. And this is barely talked about in the mainstream media.
And regarding COVID-19, we've seen Trump really be all over the map, going from really downplaying how serious it is to now really wavering about when should we open it up. And then when he's asked a critical question by a journalist, he tends to attack the asker of the question. When people asked about what matrix he'll use, he pointed to his head and said he'll use this. So what are your fears in the way that he is, it seems like in some ways he's really rushing to open the economy, even against the recommendations of places like the World Health Organization, and the list really goes on. We know that when people disagree with them, it seems that they don't work for him or they're defunded. So what do you make of all of this?
Well, I mean, it's true. If you look at it in one way, there's enormous chaos, and there is chaos in the regime in its response. But there's also a consistency. There's a consistent hatred of science, opposition to the you can see he's been pressed by his advisors to go even as far as he has to support social distancing. Yet he's continued. I mean, he's continued to oppose it. He's upholding these pro-Trump protesters in Michigan and now California and other states who were out there in egregious violation of social distancing, calling for the economy to be reopened. That in itself is very dangerous. He's upholding that. He's calling on people to liberate those states. This is dangerous in itself. These people are out with Confederate flags. This and assault weapons in some states. This is a fascist movement raising its head. That's what we're seeing. And what we're doing in our protest is the exact opposite. We're acting in the interests of humanity. We're acting we're upholding and promoting social distancing. We are saying this regime must go out now. It needs to happen as soon as possible, and it needs to happen through the actions of the people. That's our core program and what we're about.
And this is a national action. People across the country are doing this. What would it look like? How would we operationalize this idea of ousting this regime?
Our view is that what we've seen in many countries before this epidemic, huge mass protests involving at times hundreds of thousands of people, Chile, Puerto Rico, many places in Hong Kong, many places in the world are what we need. We need a mass movement from the people that says, we will not, in the name of humanity, we will not accept a fascist America that stands up to this. We don't think that this regime can be removed any other way. And the most important thing that people can do is to take to the streets. Now, you can't do that in the kind of way that's required. We're trying to work within the constraints of social distancing. We have a statement of conscience on our website, which we encourage people to read and sign and spread. Our website is refusefascism.org. That's one thing people can do. People can donate, and people can come to protests like the one we're having. And there are other protests that are happening, but we urge people to find a way to express opposition to this.
Express opposition while still practicing social distancing and all the good practices.
Absolutely. It's very important to practice social distancing, both to model it, but also because we value ourselves. We don't want to go out there and get sick, and we don't want others to get sick either. And so yeah, very important. I mean, we're in an extraordinary situation. We've never been in a situation really like this, and you have Trump, who hates science, who hates the anything that constrains the roaring market, I guess, and he's in charge of this. How we're going to get out of this situation? It's a potential disaster, and it's already a disaster. It can be an even worse disaster. So we think people need to find the ways to protest this, get on social media, spread the word. There's going to be protests in a number of cities. And it'll be easily, you can find it through refusefascism.org, to the different media associated with that, social media. So
perfect. Any final messages for our listeners?
Well, I mean, I just think it's important for people to for people in particular in this country to rise to the really extraordinary and difficult situation we face. We need to do things that we haven't done, that have been done in other places where people are more prone to take to the streets. We need to break out of the constraints, that the mental shackles that hold us back, and confront the reality. This is a fascist regime. It can't be. We can't wish that away. We need to take to the streets, and right now is a time when we can spread the word about that, get organized, and I urge everyone to go to refusefascism.org, and you can also donate. We definitely need money at this point to spread the word. So that's it. Thank you.
Thank you so much for your time. And you can listen tomorrow at kpfa.org or 94.1. And I'm happy to send you a link as well if that's helpful to you. It's at 6 p.m.
Great. Please send me a link. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Take care. In case you don't hear from me, just ping me a message and it will prompt me to send you the link. It will remind me.
Okay. All right. Thank you.
Thank you.
Bye-bye.
Take care. Bye.